topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Draw me close to you, never let me go. I lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm a friend.
Good day. The Almighty Creator desires a deep personal relationship with you. My name is James Robertson. I'm a researcher, publisher, and teacher regarding the matters and truths of the Almighty Creator, whose true name is Yah, the eternally self-existing. I've been actively serving him since 1993, over 33 years. If you are not actively serving Yah, then by default you're serving Satan. My objective is to show you how you can make a big difference on earth and qualify for a position of high esteem in heaven for eternity. It's important to understand that as a believer, just being good is not the point. It's relationship with Yah that counts. Without this, you will be in a very unpleasant place in heaven with no way out. My aim is to show you how you can get close to Father. If you're a good person without a clear relationship with Yah, then you're in a spiritual no man's land and you will not enter heaven when you die. The Creator has said regarding unbelievers, why would I want someone to spend eternity with me when they do not believe I exist? Yah is calling everybody on the planet to be involved and serve him and to help him to have victory over Satan. Fundamentally, we each need to learn to see things on earth from Yah's perspective. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org and email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org. So today I'm going to talk about the truth about women. The overview. In this broadcast, I will present a number of little-known truths that evidence that women are entirely equal to men in all respects and should be accorded appropriate respect. I will first look at biblical evidence and then present some other considerations. Note that in the final quest, Rick Joyner reports many more women than men in the battle against the forces of darkness and many more women than men on high thrones for eternity. See the final quest on the website under the ETI Bible version page. I've also recently encountered a significant number of articles about powerful women who, although treated badly, have accomplished dramatic things entirely comparable to those accomplished by men. I grew up in an environment where there was no, in my family, there was no hint of my sisters and my mother being in any way inferior to my father and myself. We grew up as my mother as a peer to my father, my sisters as peers to myself. And it's only subsequently that I learned that a lot of men have a bad attitude towards women. And that's really gelled for me in the recent past. And that's what's prompted me to produce this broadcast. So I'm going to start off with an article. 2026-0305, Eve was created equal with Adam, the truth about the role of women. It's based on a broadcast on YouTube, which is arguably the most important religious teaching with regard to women, bar none. It clearly and unambiguously evidences that in the Bible, Eve was created equal with Adam, two halves of a whole, and totally turns conventional thinking about women on its head. If you have a view that women are in some way subservient to men, you need to watch this video or read the appendix to this, the article on which this broadcast is based. As I said a minute ago, I've been independently seeing for quite some time and have taught that women are equal to men before Yah in every possible way. And this broadcast, this YouTube video is a powerful confirmation. See also my article, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later today, 2024-0908, who or what is a handmaiden of the Almighty Creator, how to become a handmaiden. So there's a whole lot of stuff, folks. Men who have a view that women are sort of inferior. I've read articles recently of situations in which women were rejected or overlooked or downplayed or whatever in Western, and I'm talking British, American, US society as recently as 100, 150 years ago, that they were not regarded as being competent to be educated, that they were not competent to do science and technology. And yet some women succeeded and proved that they were. The broadcast that I'm referring to also reinforces what I've been saying for years regarding errors of translation in the Bible, driven by doctrinal error and bias. The video is quite gentle, and I have to say, I am of the opinion that the translators intentionally mistranslated to protect established doctrine in this and other areas. Following is a summary of the transcript of the video with the full transcript in the appendix. The video can be watched on either on my ETI YouTube channel or on the original YouTube channel. Search in YouTube for Eve was not created from a rib, bracket, Hebrew reveals the truth, close bracket. So that's Eve was not created from a rib. If you search for that on YouTube, you should find the broadcast. It's an extremely powerful and largely accurate article or video. As usual, I offer caveats with regard to third-party content. See the webpage, critical caveats regarding third-party content on the website. So the fact that I'm endorsing it at some level doesn't mean that I agree with everything that they say. In summary, basically what the broadcast says is Eve was created equal with Adam and was not created from a rib, and says that Hebrew reveals a very different story. And it postulates that what if one of the most familiar passages in Genesis has been misunderstood because of a single translation choice? For centuries, many readers have been taught that Chava, incorrectly Eve, was created from one of Adam's ribs. The argument in this video is that the original Hebrew word tzalah does not mean rib at all. Throughout the Hebrew Bible, it is overwhelmingly used to mean side, a full structural side or half of something, not a small expendable bone. And that changes the whole picture. I have to confess that I have always assumed that rib was a valid translation. I've never questioned it. And this just gives a completely different dimension to that interpretation. What I also hadn't understood is that many men apparently, particularly in certain religions and certain groupings, say that, well, since woman was created from a rib, it's just a little bone, woman is inferior to men. And that appears to be behind a lot of the wrong thinking of men's attitudes to women. So instead, this video, instead of Chava, incorrectly Eve, being presented as a secondary being made from a minor fragment of Adam, the Hebrew suggests something much more profound. Humanity was divided into two corresponding sides. Woman was not an afterthought. She was not a lesser creation. She was built from Adam's side as his equal counterpart. The transcript also highlights that the Hebrew verb used for chava is not the ordinary word for made, or even the same word used when Adam was formed from dust. The word bana is bana, to build. It is a construction term, even a temple building term. The implication is striking. Chava was not casually fashioned. She was built with sacred intention and precision. The argument goes further. It connects this reading with the Hebrew phrase Eza kenegdo, often translated helper in English. Helper can sound subordinate, but in Hebrew, Eza is frequently used of Yah himself, a rescuer, a strong ally, one who comes to save. Kenegdo carries the sense of corresponding to, facing, matching. So the woman is not portrayed as beneath the man, but as standing before him as his powerful equal. Folks, this is really dramatic stuff. If you have at any level, as a man or a woman, had some sort of belief that women were inferior to men. And if you come from a religion like Islam, which manifestly, almost entirely, puts women down, makes them wear veils and what have you, makes them second rate. It's dramatic stuff, folks. And if you come from one of those groupings or religions, you need to fix your doctrine. So seen this way, the Genesis account becomes not a story of hierarchy, but a story of separation and reunion. One becoming two, so that the two may choose to become one again. Marriage is then understood not as domination or dependency, but as the sacred reunion of corresponding halves. This interpretation also explains why Adam's response is so full of recognition. Bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. He's not naming something lesser, he's recognizing someone like himself, his counterpart, his match, his other side. The central challenge is powerful, so go back to the Hebrew. Read more carefully. Recognize that the story of Chava has been shaped for centuries by a word that never meant rib in the first place, and this has led to all sorts of false doctrines, devaluing women. So if you've been in the habit of devaluing women, it is time to review your beliefs and course correct. Women are entirely equal before Yah, no matter what you've been taught. So forcing women to wear headscarves or veils, beating up women if they don't, denying them education, treating them as second-class citizens, treating them as sex objects, it's all out of line, folks. And if you as a man are guilty of any of those things, it's time to repent, it's time to course correct, it's time to get your head round that the women in your life are your equals. And if you're a woman and you've been suppressed and depressed and what have you, it's time to get your mind round you're an equal. Not in an arrogant, confrontational way, but that you have the same standing before Yah. And as I said right at the beginning of this broadcast, Rick Joyner has reported that there are many more women engaged in the end-time battle against the forces of darkness, and that there are, and this is viewed from heaven, and that there are many more women on high thrones in heaven right now than men. And Father has said to me, there are 7 times more women than men in the body of true believers on earth today. So if you're a man and you have an arrogant attitude to women because of your religion, you need to check it out, because you may not shape up very well when you come before the judgment seat if you don't sort out your thinking. And I'm not advocating that women suddenly become aggressive and what have you, but I'm saying it's a very different view of how Yah views women to, dare I say it, the majority of men, if we look at the entire planet. And then things like this thing that they call female circumcision, removal of the clitoris, genital mutilation. I mean, it's horrendous. It's appalling. It's an abomination. It's horrible. And if you're guilty of doing it or espousing it or practicing it or enforcing it or whatever, you are on the wrong side of justice. You are on the wrong side of Yah, and you are going to have a horrible experience when you come before the judgment seat, assuming that you're a believer. So now I want to jump back to an article 2025-1101, The Forbidden Truth About Mary Magdalene and the Role of Women in the Body of Believers. As I said earlier, I grew up in a family where there was no discrimination between women and men. So I've never had an attitude to diminish women in my life or in society. I've also shared previously my experience of Lorraine Fisser, a powerful spokeswoman, prophetess, and emissary apostle who walked in power and authority and had raised 19 people from the dead. I'd previously been impacted by reports of Catherine Kuhlman and other powerful believing women. Concurrently with this, Father Yah has revealed to me that there are 7 times more women than men in the body of true believers on earth today, and Yah also revealed to Rick Joyner in his visions reported in the book The Final Quest that there were far more women than men in the body of believers in the battle against the satanic realm, including far more women than men on thrones in heaven. And I've said this now several times, but folks, it bears repeating. Women are not there to satisfy men's sexual lusts and demands and what have you, and fantasies. They are autonomous, absolutely equal beings to men, and they should be treated accordingly with proper respect. So accordingly, I have complete certainty that women are entirely called to be powerful servants of equal status to men in the service of Yah. I set this out in my article, Who or What is a Handmaiden, that I'm going to talk about in a minute. If you've not read the article, we're going to talk about it now, I encourage you to read the whole article. Concurrently, I've become increasingly distressed by the really unacceptable manner in which women are treated by most men in most religions, ranging from church denominations that hold that only men can minister, to the most appalling treatment of women by certain Islamic groups that force women to hide themselves from head to toe, block them from general social involvement, block them from education, treat them as chattels, regard them as trophies in the life to come, etc., etc. Folks, if you are somebody who somehow thinks that if you suicide bomb yourself, you're going to get 72 virgins as a reward in heaven, you are so far off the mark, you're not really on the planet, to be honest, my friend. Women are not there to be sexual rewards for appalling behavior. And just coming back to that, this whole thing about the church saying that only men can minister, it's codswallop fact, folks. It's the result of an appalling chauvinistic attitude that goes all the way back to those that came immediately after Yeshua. And that's part of what this article that I'm referring to now deals with. In recent weeks, I've also in recent months now, I've recently come to the conclusion that there is a major error with regard to the role of women in religious society that extends to just about every nation on earth, coupled with cultural conditioning that devalues women, and that women had historically played a much more important position than generally taught and as reported in the Bible. In November 2025, my partner Margot, a powerful modern woman, sent me a link to her YouTube video, The Forbidden Truth Mary Magdalene's prophecy that made the church tremble. That's what's informed this part of this presentation. I suggest that you, if you haven't seen that video, you need to get it. It's on YouTube, The Forbidden Truth, Mary Magdalene's prophecy that made the church tremble. I listened with interest and experienced a level of anointing. Once I'd listened to the recording, Yah confirmed to me that the video is largely accurate. That said, as always, you need to request discernment regarding some of the finer details. But the key point here, folks, is that Yah has indicated to me that the fundamental message of this video, like the other video I've referred to, is fundamentally sound. The video builds its case by reporting a very different report about the role of Miriam, incorrectly Mary of Magdala, in the ministry of Yahushua, incorrectly Jesus, and most importantly, as an emissary, incorrectly apostle, and spokeswoman, incorrectly prophetess, of Yah and leader after the resurrection of Yahushua. The video records the progressive editing out of Mary Magdalene as emissary, spokeswoman, and leader from church records and church doctrine. This points to a culture that permeates the culture of discounting women of almost the entire body of religion in the world today, particularly in most of Christianity. As far as I can gauge, all of Islam, to an extent in Judaism, and to the best of my knowledge, many other religions as well. This teaching also highlights a number of books, including the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Philip, and others. It is stated that these books have equally authoritative status to what is contained in the Bible. This confirms what Yah said to me way back in 1993, 33 years ago. The Bible is incomplete. There are many books that have been omitted because they were unacceptable to the Roman Church. And I've seen this confirmed in various ways over the years, on all sorts of levels. It's shocking, folks. This video presents significant evidence that almost immediately after the death of and resurrection of Yahushua, chauvinistic followers started to edge specifically Miriam of Magdala out of the mainstream, where she had in fact been very close to Yahushua. Yahushua had confided in her and taught her such that she knew things that the other followers did not know. And yet within a relatively short space of time, she was being sidelined, and the whole church became a male-dominated thing. The whole religion of Christianity became male-dominated, all the way through to the Pope, to all the male ministers that you have today, and the prejudice that you have. I saw a post on LinkedIn a few weeks ago that somebody had posted about women in ministry, and some guy comes up and posts a comment which says, "You're out of line. The Bible says that only men can minister." It's shocking in this day and age, particularly in a Christian setting where there are a significant number of powerful women. This also reinforces an understanding that has been building for me for some years, that the Bible is in fact an extremely inadequate source of information relating to Yah and his ways and his matters. The entire hierarchical male institutionalized governance model of most of religion is fundamentally challenged in this video, and confirms what I've been saying with regard to my own ministry, where I'm strictly working on the basis of empowering others to build a deep personal relationship with Yah directly, without working through me and without looking for governance from myself. I encourage others to go further than I've been able to go, building on all the revelation that I've received and published. We're intended each to be discrete, individual agents of Yah, being deeply led by His Spirit. That was what He intended from the beginning. What we have today is a consequence of the completely deficient levels of male-dominated relationship to Yah. So we have people with limited relationship leading others with even less relationship, and led always by intellect and arrogant assumption of authority at the expense of Yah-led life. The thing to really get here, folks, is notwithstanding the fact that the majority of most religions are male-dominated in terms of governance, there are many more women than men in the body of true believers. There are many more women than men on high thrones in heaven for eternity. So that tells us that many of those men are not going to make it into heaven, but they are ruling. So be careful who you be careful who you listen to. This teaching reinforces a view that men suppress the role of women in religion as a transference of their lack of self-control of their lusts so that they can avoid temptation. I strongly recommend that you listen to the video and take it to heart. If you're a woman who's been placed in subservience to men, I encourage you to deeply consider this message and the handmaiden teaching that follows. The video is also available on the ETI YouTube. Search YouTube for The Forbidden Truth, Mary Magdalene's prophecy that made the church tremble. In conclusion, the video sets out a radically different view of the role of women in the body of believers, as well as a radically different view of governance of believers. I strongly recommend that women listen to this video and even step out to achieve their full potential of believers. And when I say a different view of governance, fundamentally it's saying this whole hierarchy of church or Islam or whatever, it's nonsense. We are supposed to each personally have a direct relationship with Yah, be led by the Spirit of Yah, and be equals, not rulers. So to continue, my article 2024-0908, Who or What is a Handmaiden of the Almighty Creator? How to Become a Handmaiden. This article was triggered by the situations of two single women that I've been inspired to advise to become handmaidens. Most of the article applies to every believer and is addressed elsewhere on the website. The vast majority of the article is also relevant to married women. That said, the article focuses specifically on single women who are truly committed to serving the Almighty Creator, whose true name is Yah, the eternally self-existing, for the rest of their lives without a husband. Regarding the name of the Creator, see the article, The True Name of the Almighty Creator is Yah, the eternally self-existing. Folks, so what I'm building, this article was written before the other two that I've just referenced. But I'm building a theme here for women to see themselves as powerful servants of Yah, not as cooks and bottle washers or just child rearers or child bearers or housekeepers or whatever. The case that I mentioned earlier of Lorraine Fisser clearly evidenced in my personal experience that it is possible for a woman to be more powerful than in Yah than all the men around her, including myself at that time, just by the way. At the time that I wrote this article, I wrote last night, and this was the 27th of September 2024, I knew very little about the handmaiden of Yah. Early that morning, I lay awake and made the detailed notes on which the article is based. So I therefore have confidence that the essence of the message is from Yah. Note that there's a huge amount of wrong teaching about women and ministry. This article sets out to dispel this. The visions of Rick Joyner described in the Final Quest report many women on thrones in heaven. Refer to the Final Quest with commentary, specifically to Chapter 5, Part 8, Verse 712, referring to overcomers seated on thrones in heaven, which states, "It seemed that faithful praying women and mothers occupied more thrones than any other single group." Further describing the people on the mountain of Yah preparing to engage in the battle with the evil horde, Joyner reports in chapter 2.2, verse 10, "To my further surprise, the great majority of these soldiers were women and children." So if you're a man and you're in the habit of lording it over women, I suggest you deal with your issues now. Because if you don't, should you make it into heaven, you're likely to be in for a nasty shock. Consider the possibility that you could end up in heaven serving a group in which women are leaders and you are not. It's possible. It correlates with a statement made to me by Father and reiterated on many occasions that there are 7 times as many women as men in the body of true believers on earth today. In various other places in the Final Quest, Joyner discovers far more women than men in the service of Yah. See the article, "There are 7 times as many believing women as men on earth today, so most need to remain celibate and single." This is huge. If you're a man teaching that women are in some way second-class citizens subservient to men and that women cannot be in ministry, I strongly recommend that you rethink your beliefs fundamentally. If you're a woman who has been lied to and told that you can only minister in submission to your husband, then I encourage you to denounce that lie and step out into the fullness of all that Yah is calling you to be. I'm not encouraging rebellion. I am encouraging you to enroll your husband into your calling. There's a big piece here about men accept and esteem and treat your wife or your wives as equals, not as second-rate citizens. That's going to be a big change for a hang of a lot of men. And then if you're a believing woman desperately trying to get your unbelieving husband saved because you've told that it is Yah's will, give it one more attempt and then ask Yah for a divorce. He's almost certain to grant it. It's an abomination for a believer to be sexually joined to an unbeliever, the temple of Satan. See the article. There are a significant number of situations in which Yah does permit divorce. As I said earlier, many years ago, I met Lorraine Visser, a single woman who moved in power and authority with a deep personal relationship with Yah. Her example has inspired this broadcast. I dedicate this article to her. Thank you, Lorraine, for all you taught me about women in ministry. Fundamentally, this article is hugely relevant to any single believing woman and largely relevant to any believing woman in a permanent covenant relationship with a man, in other words, marriage. It's a lie that if you're a man or a woman joined to an unbeliever and the unbeliever will not repent and come to salvation, that you have to stay married to them. No. Father will allow you to get out of that situation, preferably to remain single and celibate, but if necessary to marry, or if appropriate, to marry again to a believer. And if you're a woman, finding a suitable husband is not trivial, given that there's 7 times more women than men in the body of true believers. So if you're a woman, you probably need to stay single and celibate. So who or what is a handmaiden of Yah? Coming back to when I wrote the article, in the early hours of the morning, I made the rough notes on which the items below are based with significant inspiration. I offer them for your consideration in no particular order. Some of the points apply only to single women, but most apply to all believing women and many to believing men. The handmaiden aims to operate in and comply with a significant number of the following points. A handmaiden is beholden to Yah alone. She has deep revelation of Matiyahu, incorrectly Matthew 22:37 and Mark 12:30, citing Deuteronomy 6:5. Yahushua declared, love Yah, the eternally self-existing, incorrectly the Lord, your mighty one, incorrectly God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. She's totally sold out and committed to Yah. If you're a single woman, I encourage you to get totally in love with Yah. Not with your Bible, not with your pastor or your assembly or your whatever or your religion. You and Yah alone, one-on-one, in deep personal relationship, so that you hear him, so that you talk to him, so that you engage with him in every area of your life, your ministry, whatever you have that you do, your work, your hobbies, everything. You and Yah alone. 2, she's read the article. The only reason we exist is to have a deep, the only reason we exist is to have a deep personal relationship with the Almighty Creator and to be his friend. And she's followed the links in that article and committed to it and is applying it. Folks, this is so important. We're surrounded by this immense, limitless universe, galaxy, solar system, planet Earth, plants, animals, all of it created for one reason only, for intelligent beings with the ability to reason and make choices and make decisions, to engage intelligently in conversation with Yah as his friends. And there's almost nobody on earth that understands that and is doing it. Then in the case of a single woman, taken a vow of celibacy and ceased praying for and looking for a husband, and asked Yah to be her husband and cover her and provide for her by showing her how to earn a living. It's a big thing for many women. There aren't enough men to go round, and you should not marry, not join yourself sexually to a man unless he is of like spiritual seniority and maturity to yourself. And as I say, in the case of a single woman, realize you've come to terms with the fact that there are many more women than men in the body of true believers. You've accepted it and you've justified it. So if you're a single woman, I really encourage you right now, let go of any aspiration to have a husband. Find another committed, believing woman, enter into a covenant relationship with her, live together, and fellowship together and share things together and build your ministry together. But stop looking for a man, there are none available. Then in the case of a woman married to a true believer, you're doing all that you can to make your marriage work in partnership with your husband. See the article, Father intended men and women to live together in perfect, powerful union. I am not against marriage, but I am against marriage of believers to unbelievers. I am against the marriage of a mature woman to an immature man. I'm talking believers. A committed woman has read the article. You consider a high throne for eternity. You followed the links and you set your heart on a high throne. Folks, there is nothing more important in this life than qualifying at the end of your life to sit on a high throne. That's what you're here for. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. You've read the article, 7 components on drawing close to Yah, and you're putting it into practice. It's about 72 pages. There are a whole lot of things to do to get yourself right with Yah, that you can hear him, that you can engage with him, that you can make him fully part of your life. In the appendix to the article that I'm referring to, there's an article off the internet, How to Be a Handmaid of the Lord. Incorrect, should be Yah. In the appendix, if you're serious, get the article off the website, read the appendix. So that's it, folks. I'm out of time. So the rest of this article is on the website. I've spoken about it before, so I'm not going to talk about the rest. I've given you the meat, the core pieces. I want to wrap up by asking you, what is the state of your relationship with the Almighty Creator? I'd like to ask you to critically examine where you are relative to him today. Do you talk to him constantly throughout the day and allow him to lead you in every possible way? Do you worship him at every opportunity? Have you clearly and unambiguously heard him call you friend? If not, you're failing in your life purpose and you'll be bitterly disappointed when you die. If you've now come to belief, please pray along the following lines. Father Yah, I come to you in the name of Yahushua. I now believe that you exist. I confess my sin of unbelief, and I repent of my unbelief, and I ask you to forgive my sin. I now commit my life to you, and I ask you to take me by the hand and lead me into deep relationship with you. I ask you to fill me with your spirit and to change me and help me to become the person you want me to become. I ask you to help me to find people who can help me and help me find books, websites, articles, and other resources that will help me. I ask you to show me what I can do to actively serve you and lead others to deep personal relationship with you. I thank you for saving me. There's a period of 8 days from sincerely coming to first belief for the first time, during which there's extreme grace to help you. See the article Critical's Actions on First Belief on the website for actions you should take immediately. Drop me an email on james@endtimeissueministries.org so that I can help you, pray with you, counsel you, etc., pray for you. Folks, so important. Get your life right with Yah. It's ultimately the only thing that matters. In closing, thank you for listening. Please send me your questions to james@endtimeissueministries.org. Please email me to join the mailing list at james@endtimeissueministries.org. If you decide to draw close to the Almighty, please let me know and I can connect with you by Zoom, Teams, email, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, or telephone so that I can help you with your journey. I hope to connect with you again next week when I will continue to explore how to become a friend of the Creator. Work with me to make a way for Yeshua to return in victory at the end of the millennium and make his enemies his footstool. Folks, Yah wants you to become his friend. You, yes, you, the one I'm talking to. Doesn't matter if you're African, Asian, Indian, American, Caucasian, European, whatever. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, thin or fat, tall or short. Doesn't matter if you've got blonde hair and blue eyes, or black hair and brown eyes, or anything in between. Doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Baha'i, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever. Doesn't matter if you're an outright Satanist. Doesn't matter if you're an Islamist killer. It doesn't matter who you are. Yah wants you to become his friend. And I want you to become his friend. So if this is getting through to you, if you're realizing that the only reason you exist is to become a friend of Yah, then email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org, and I will help you to get close to Yah. That's what I live for. That's my mission. It's nothing more important to me. So that's it, folks. For those of you who've been walking with me on this broadcast for a while, you know what I'm going to say next. So I'm guessing you're going to drop off, and I'm going to say good night. Go well. Have a great weekend and a great week. For those of you who have recently joined, please stay on. I've got something to share with you. So in closing, who am I? James Robertson. I have a doctorate in engineering, and I'm a retired military commander. I now work as a management consultant. I have over 32 years' experience of actively seeking to draw close to the Almighty, following a dramatic encounter with him on the 12th of March, 1993, when he spoke to me audibly in a locked room, and I knew for certain that he was real. In learning about Father, I applied my deep-seated aversion to failure born out of an accident in early childhood, coupled to my engineering and military training of rigor in preventing failure, to my seeking of knowledge about Father. This journey led to numerous supernatural experiences, prayers answered, and clear communication with the Creator. It forms the basis of what I teach in these programs. See the video Why Seek Relationship for an overview of what I believe. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org for a whole lot of information. The ETI version of the Bible with correction of translation errors, particularly regarding the names, is on the ETI Bible version page. For recordings of nearly all of the teachings broadcast so far, go to www.relationshipwithcreatorradio.com or search on Google for Relationship with Creator Radio. Transcripts are on the Transcripts of Broadcasts page. Books with teachings from 1998 till May 2019 are on the Books for Printing page. I publish regular email articles. Email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to be added to the list, or to seek counsel or prayer, or give me feedback. Visit the website and use the article keyword cloud, table of contents, article search, and Google search to locate the information you're looking for. Folks, that's it. I'm out of time. I'm going to say good night. Have a great weekend and a great week. And I look forward to seeing you here next Friday. Thanks so much. Bye.
Father, I come to you, lifting up my hands. By your grace I stand, just because you love me. I know your favor.
Do you know the truth about the way women were really created to be? Please listen to my broadcast on w4cy.com internet radio or talk4tv.com internet TV to learn the truth. My name is Dr. James Robertson, and I've been walking closely with the Almighty Creator since 1993. Visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org for a lot of information about the matters of the Almighty. For back issues of broadcasts, visit www.relationshipwithcreatorradio.com or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to find out more. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day. Bye.